Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shot here, and I'm here today doing a bit of a special video purely because, honestly, I don't know why. But if you can't tell from the title, this is, well, sort of a bit strange considering my mains in Heroes of the Storm, but this is a guide on how to counter certain supports. Yeah. Or not even certain. How to counter most, if not all, supports. Because in Heroes of the Storm, I'm a support main. And some supports I play better than others, if you can tell. I'm only level 236, and I haven't played every support to their fullest potential. But I do own every support. I've played every support. I have a very good idea on how to play every support, so as I should say, this is at least as far as my opinion on how to counter these supports. Because, I mean, I don't know. Because some people, I've seen a lot of people complain before because there was a patch that nerfed every support except for Lily. And people said like it would stop the two support meta, which I don't see a problem with two supports on a team if it gives sustained healing. We've even seen it in competitive tournaments such as HGC. If you've watched the HGC tournaments, then, well, yeah. Because I believe the one game that I watched of HGC, it was Fnatic versus Method OG, or Method GG, not Method OG. Yeah. And one of the teams, I can't remember which, had two supports. And that was, yeah, that was Fnatic, because Fnatic was the team that ended up winning, and it was Uther and Lucio, I believe. But I just know that it was two supports, and they ended up winning, and with the Lucio actually being the last one alive to destroy the core. But anyways, besides, this isn't a video on HGC. This is how, like I said, how you would want to counter most supports. Which, this may be a pretty long video, or it might not be long at all. So, let's get right into it. And let's start with my personal favorite support and the the first hero that I unlocked from a chest, and what actually got me into being a support main in this game, Auriel. Auriel, the Archangel of Hope from Diablo. I cannot express how much I love this character. She's my highest level character, my most played character, and easily one of my favorites. But yeah. There's, because the one thing I will say about this is not a lot of supports have a lot of mobility, but they do at least have some form, most have some form of CC, or in some cases, for example, Karazim, we'll just show him here. Karazim has mobility, but not all supports have that. Some do have that via certain talents, but not all have it just baseline. Characters like supports like Karazim and also Lily and even Rehgar. This son of a gun here, which I cannot play him the best. He's actually my lowest level support, unsurprisingly, because I don't really play him that much at all. Because I can't do well with him. But that's besides the point. But anyways, how you would want to necessarily counter and kill Auriel, it's sort of easy. Because I've seen a lot of people do this. I face, like, when I play Auriel in Quick Match, I face a lot of people that know how to bait out Auriel. Because you can dive on Auriel pretty much immediately. She can do a lot of damage and also CC you with her Detainment Strike. But if you can bait out Detainment Strike and she has no tower to go under, her and she's out in the open, and even if it's a one-on-one, if you out-damage her, you can dive on her right then and there after you bait out that detainment strike, and she can't get away afterwards. Because there is an exception, is over here, if we go into the talents, at level 20, Auriel can get Angelic Flight, which after 2 seconds you fly to whatever location on the map you want to. I don't see it. I have one friend that specifically gets Angelic Flight just for the mobility, and to get to teams, to get into team fights, like right after respawning, fly in, get some healing off, all that. But I don't personally use Angelic Flight much, so me, when I play Auriel, I'm very vulnerable if I don't hit my detainment strike, because I don't have any mobility. So, it sort of hurts whenever that happens. But, yeah, that's pretty much the main way you would want to fight an Auriel, albeit I do believe I'm probably just crazy here. Yeah, I am. Okay. I'm thinking of the wrong support, but there was a talent on another support that gives movement speed upon heal, and I thought that was Auriel for a second, but no. So, yeah. Next is, of course, Tyrande, because that is my next most played support, and then is Lieutenant Morales. But Tyrande is more of a damaging support, because oh my god. Her trait is damaging because Hunter's Mark, that's what it's called, I nearly forgot what it was called there for a second, but Hunter's Mark reduces a single target enemy's armor, I believe, is it 4 seconds? 4 seconds. Lowers their armor by 25 for 4 seconds, making them vulnerable to basic attacks for 4 seconds. Essentially taking 25% more damage. So you have that, which is also correlating to her healing, which is a very small amount of healing, but basic attacks reduce the cooldown. So you can heal often if you do a lot of basic attacks, and it doesn't have to be against a hero to get that cooldown reduction. So you have very good sustained healing as long as you're fighting. You can do a lot of damage with Hunter's Mark just from this, and it also reveals, but I don't necessarily use it to reveal, I use it for fighting most of the time. But she has this for DPS, and then she has Sentinel, which is a revealing, you just throw out an owl, it reveals everything in its path, it reveals all terrain in its path, all heroes, everything. And it does damage, and that's one of the main things that you have as damage. And then there's Lunar Flare, which this is her best form of CC. Which, oh my god. If you can hit these Lunar Flares, if you can predict where an enemy is going, and you can hit these Lunar Flares consistently, going on the Lunar Blaze build, which that's what the Lunar Flare build is called, but Lunar Blaze, you can infinitely empower it. And I've seen people that have had the damage, like, they've hit with 90 times, so 90 times 3, that's 270, right? Yeah. 270% more damage from one Lunar Flare, and at high levels, that is extremely powerful. So she has sustained CC from that, especially if you are going on the build for the Lunar Flare, because you can make it to where you no longer have a mana cost, so you can just use it without having to hit Fountain, without having to do that, have a farther range to keep enemies from getting away. It's really good. But the next form of CC she has is, she has Starfall. Which, Starfall, slows and damages enemies, which is a good form of CC that can be used for getting away, but her main way of getting away is her heroic Shadow Stalk, which she gets stealthed and movement speed for, I don't think there's actually a limit. You just stay stealthed, and then you get the movement speed bonus for 5 seconds after stealth is broken, and it's as simple as that. So, that's a really good way for escaping her. Or, escaping her? God, I'm slurring my words, I'm sorry. Oh god, I'm terrible with stuff like this. But no. No, she has a lot of CC, she has a lot of mobility. She has a lot of CC in her base kit without heroics from her Lunar Flare, and she has a lot of mobility if she goes for Shadow Stalk. And this is also who I believe it was. No, it's not. Is it? Yes, it is. At level 13, Light of a Loon increases movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds on the target. So yeah, that's who I was thinking it was, and that is what makes her very mobile, very hard to dive on, because she can sustain herself. If she's constantly basic attacking against Tyrande, or Tyrande, whatever you want to say, I'm told that it's Tyrande or Tyrande. I'm conflicting there, but yeah. It's recommended, unless you, like, Illidan, for example, if you can avoid her basic attacks with, like I said, Illidan, because Illidan has... Where's Illidan? I own Illidan. Where is he? I'm blind as a bat. Illidan. Illidan's ability, Evasion. That's what it was. You can use that to avoid basic attacks for a certain amount of time, and sort of mess up Tyrande's healing, because you can't hit the basic attacks on Illidan while he's using Evasion. And also, Illidan is a very heavy dive character, but the best way you want to go about this, if you have very good CC yourself, one thing I recommend against Tyrande is if you're playing Butcher, this son of a gun, which I love him. He's a very good boy. That's a lie. He is a very brutal boy. That's what he is. But yeah, you want one good way to counter her as the Butcher, for example, just in general, is CCing her and preventing her from attacking. So blinding, CC, just any form of whatever you can, and to keep her out in the open and get her dead. Even silencing to prevent her from crowd controlling you. So characters like Sylvanas, Alarak, even Medivh, because technically silencing does count in the form of a polymorph, so Brightwing as well is another character that could do the technically silencing in that way, because Brightwing can also polymorph. But yeah, and also if you face a Tyrande that does Shadow Stalk to escape, the main way that you want to counter that is, well, you really only can counter it with not targetable skills, but skill shot skills and stuff like that. So essentially stuff that's not directly targeted, like the Butcher's charge, the Butcher's brand, oh yeah, I'm just thinking of examples. Sonya's Seismic Slam, just anything that you have to directly click on the hero to target it to that hero. You have to use skill shot skills like Butcher's Hamstring, Jaina's Frostbolt, Li Ming's Magic Missiles to unreveal her and get rid of that stealth so you can use your normal abilities on her. I went way too in-depth with Tyrande, but that's, you know, the main ways that you want to do that. But I forgot the thing that I was saying about, with the Butcher. The Butcher is one of the best examples because he's also another character I forgot that can silence, because if you go with the heroic option Lamb to Slaughter, charge her, place it on the heroic, and it silences her, and she cannot be... she can't escape, because it pulls her back anytime she tries to run. So, perfect. Now, the next one, Lieutenant Morales. One of the most sustained healers in the game due to just the rate of healing that she puts out whenever she's healing. Lieutenant Morales is a really good healer. I like her, personally, because she's sort of bland to play, but she's also extremely fun to play if you can play her well. Like, the style of playing her is pretty simple. You keep your healing either on one target and pocket them, or you... or, like, just in a team fight, you're switching your healing to multiple targets and stuff like that. It's because Morales is only single target healing. So, yeah. She's not the best in team fights, but a good Morales can work around that. But yeah, to countering her, mostly in team fights or even as pocketing, she is staying in the back lines. That way, the front line, which is typically a warrior, so characters like Leoric, Tyrael, Stitches, they're up in front, and Lieutenant Morales is pocketing them so they do not die. The main way to counter this is with stealth heroes like Valeera, Samuro, Nova. Who are the other stealth heroes? I was gonna say Tastar, but no. that ain't gonna work. But, no, it's Valeera. I can't remember a lot of them because I don't play stealth heroes except for Valeera. Valeera is the one exception. Well, I play well, I don't play Nova well. But yeah, Valeera, Nova, Samuro, Zeratul, that's what I was thinking. Those four are really good for flanking, because most Morales will stay in the back to avoid most damage. So if you can flank her with a stealth hero and get the jump on her, especially with Valeera's Garrote, which does damage over time and a silence effect, can mess up her healing at the same time. Yeah. The main point that I do want to point out about this is the fact that whenever it comes to the one-on-one situation with the support, this situation should not happen very often, because most supports should not be laning alone. There are some supports that can lane alone, Stukov, for example, Karzim, because he can go a completely damage build instead of healing. But other than that, you typically should not be solo laning as a support in Heroes of the Storm, because a lot of them are pretty vulnerable. Some do have really good damage, but not any mobility. And there's some even that don't have CC. Like, the only form of CC or mobility that Lieutenant Morales has is her displacement grenade, which causes knockback and damage, and her Medivac dropship, which she can get in and any ally... She can transport herself and any allies to a designated location. That's her only form of mobility, and that's her only form of CC, is displacement. So, yeah. If you have flanking heroes, or even just dive-heavy heroes, dive past the warrior, or even assassin that she is pocketing, and dive on her. Most supports are who you want to focus first. Some supports are not, because they can get away easily. Karzim is the main example of that. But yeah, that is Lieutenant Morales. And Lucio, oh boy, the boopy boy from Overwatch. This son of a gun is actually quite hard to counter, necessarily. At least in my opinion. Because he can have just such high mobility. Because that's one of his main things, is speed. His healing is not the greatest, it's like 3 3 healing every tick or something. So it's not the greatest. But his speed, mobility, and ability to essentially lock down a team fight with his sound barrier, of course, if you've played Overwatch, you know that. The sound barrier in the middle of a team fight, drop that, and your team will be sustained for a little while with shielding. Or the ability to secure a kill by speed boosting his team towards the person that they're trying to kill. So, he has a lot of movement, mostly, and also CC. CC is from Soundwave, and his, well, his movement, obviously, is Wall Ride and Crossfade Speed Boost. And also with the effects of Amp It Up is even more powerful on that mobility. But the way that I would say to counter him is keep him locked down entirely with crowd control. Stun lock him if you have to, because if he can't move, then he can't get away. That's pretty much the main thing with locking down any support hero, is you want to keep them just... you just want to keep them stunned, silenced, whatever. Once again, Butcher's Charge, or, yeah, Ruthless Onslaught, I believe is the name of it. Yeah. Ruthless Onslaught. Ruthless Onslaught, charge in there, or Lambda Slaughter, silence them, prevent their escape, and also, if you keep up with Heroes of the Storm, you guys will know that the new hero, Maiev Shadow Song, also has an ability that sort of works like what's called Lambda Slaughter, which pulls enemy heroes back when they try to escape after you hit them with the tether. So it's quite nice. Just anything that can pull them closer. So Stitch's Hook, even Zeratul, not Zeratul, Alarak's Kinesis, or God, where's Alarak? I have him somewhere. Telekinesis. That can be good. Just slowing abilities as well. If you hinder his movement speed, then he can't use that as an advantage to get away. And yeah, just CC the hell out of Lucio. That's one of the main things. Mostly slows and even stuns. Just make sure he doesn't get away, because if you don't constantly CC him, he can escape easily, especially if there's a lot of terrain around. But the next one, Alexstrasza. Oh my. Alexstrasza is honestly probably, as far as CC, mobility, and all this stuff, I'm not saying on par with Lucio, because Lucio is probably up there with Kharazim as far as being able to get away from a fight if needed, from movement speed and all that. That's although Kharazim does not really have CC. But Alexstrasza is very good on this for 2 reasons. CC, and once again, mobility. But mobility is pretty much based entirely on what talent you pick at level 10. Which, her main form of CC is a skill shot, Flame Buffet, which causes a 40% slow upon impact. So, this is after you're hit twice with the ability, because the first time burns the enemy for 5 seconds, as you can see here, 5.5 seconds, and hitting an enemy that's burning slows them for 40%, decaying over that 2-second time period, which is also the cooldown period of Flame Buffet. So, she has really good crowd control as far as slow, purely because of this, and also her Dragon Queen ability for her E, which is called Wing Buffet, which knocks back enemies. Now, that's pretty good as far as CC to keep you the hell away from her, and the knockback from Wing Buffet as well. Now, her mobility, Where that comes in is Cleansing Flame. This should only be used for mobility and escape in an emergency situation, because otherwise you want to use this for damage and healing. Because otherwise, well, that's going to be a waste of a 100-second cooldown there. Yeah, you only want to use that as emergency if you're playing Alexstrasza. Emergency mobility, or emergency escape, whatever you want to say. Although, a main way to counter that is if they're low health. Kel'Thuzad, actually, is one of the best counters that I've seen. Kel'Thuzad's Shadow Fissure ability. Strike that where she's landing, because there's a brief period after Cleansing Flame ends where she lands that she cannot move, because as it's finishing the animation. During that time, you can cast Shadow Fissure as Kel'Thuzad and secure a kill, if she is low health, of course. But she also has a fair bit of movement speed by either Exuberance or Surge of Vitality, both of which give movement speed. One gives movement speed to allied heroes, and one gives movement speed to only yourself. But both are still good at keeping up pace. And also, the other one here, that really hurts. So to counter Alexstrasza, like I said, to counter a Cleansing Flame escape, it's very specific, but essentially global damaging abilities that you can use to secure that kill. So Artanis' Suppression Pulse is not a good idea because that doesn't do much damage, but like what is Illidan's The Hunt heroic, actually no, Hanzo's Dragon Arrow, Kel'Thuzad's Shadow Fissure, and even no, that doesn't work. I was gonna say Kael'thas's Pyroblast, but no, that doesn't work. But yeah, just global abilities, global damaging abilities to secure that kill if that is used, and otherwise avoid her skill shots from her both Wing Buffet and Flame Buffet, and you should be able to keep up to pace with her as long as you're not being hit with that slow. Now the next one, this one's a lot of CC. No mobility, but entirely CC. And that is, of course, Admiral Alexei Stukov. Well. Stukov's CC is so immense because both of his heroic abilities, Flailing Swipe and Massive Shove, are entirely crowd control. One is a single target crowd control, and the other is multi-hero crowd control. And then, two of his abilities here are damage CC. One silences while damaging, and one slows and damages. Like, I can't really say much on how to counter the amount of CC he has, other than dodging his skill shot. If he gets silenced, immediately get out of his Lurking Arm range, and with Weighted Pustule, just dodge the Pustule as best you can, because it will do a very good slow. And another thing that he has is his trait, Bio Kill Switch, which if detonated, essentially lets you detonate the viruses that are active, which are his Healing Pathogen and Weighted Pustule. Detonating Weighted Pustule causes immense slow. So yeah, you can see here that when you detonate a Weighted Pustule, it slows its target for 70%, so extreme CC there. So, yeah, for his basic abilities, dodge, stay out of his Lurking Arm, dodge his Weighted Pustule skill shot, because it is, once again, a skill shot CC. But for his heroic options, these are pretty hard to dodge, at least for me, personally. The first one, which is the most commonly used one, is Massive Shove. Massive Shove shoves an enemy hero back Only one. This is the single target one. You can shove one enemy hero back until they collide with terrain. That means you can shove an enemy all the way back down a lane if you need to. And it also does a little bit of CC at the end with a 0.5 second stun, but that's hard to dodge because you pretty much have to... You have like a split second when he uses it to get out of the way. Either that, or you have to predict when he's going to use it and where he's going to use it and get out of the way of that. And then his flailing swipe, how you counter this is actually really hard, and I've only seen a couple characters that can really do it. Characters like Illidan and Mathael are prime examples. When he uses it, using an ability that can cause you to teleport behind him, so Zeratul is also another character that you could use for that, but teleporting behind him, because the flailing swipe affects enemy heroes only in front of him. If you can get behind him, you don't even have to teleport behind him. As long as you are behind him, you can kill him while he is using this, because it's extremely good CC as far as knockback. Same with Massive Shove, once again. But yeah, just... for countering flailing swipe, stay behind him. Massive Shove is very hard to dodge, though. I will say that. So that's really all I can say about Mr. Stukov over here. And the next one is Malfurion. Whew. Just, I don't know what else I can really say. Other than, oh boy. He doesn't have any mobility, but he has CC, of course. If you can't tell, most supports have at least one form of CC. So, it's pretty deadly if you're... or not even deadly. CC isn't entirely deadly, although it can be in certain cases. But his two crowd control things are, well, these are probably the easiest crowd control to dodge in the game, as far as, you know, if you're going on going for him while diving. Which, once again, supports should not be out on their own single laning. Or most supports. Malfurion is one of them. Because he can do damage and heal himself, but he can't get anywhere. He's not mobile. He's none that. None ya. But his only basic ability that is crowd control is Entangling Roots, which puts an area of roots that grows over time and will root enemies in place. And this is good for escaping, and you put this behind you and someone steps on it, boom. Boom, they're hit with that, and, well, not much else you can do from there. You're just rooted for, I believe, what was it, 3 seconds? No, you're rooted for 1.25 seconds. Thank God it's not 3-second root. That would be really bad. But besides that fact, that's his only basic ability, CC, and this is his heroic CC. Entangling Roots is extremely easy to dodge. As long as you just get out of the area, just steer around it. That's all you need to do to dodge it. Twilight Dream is essentially, don't stay near him. Because if you're near him, you will be silenced, but silence does not stop a chase, especially if you're a very basic attack heavy character like Illidan, the Butcher, Zeratul, actually, Alarak, just anyone that's basic attack heavy is not very much affected by Twilight Dream, because they still have their basic attacks to rely on. So, he's probably one of the easiest to counter because of that. Next up is Ana Amari. And once again, the the main way you're going to be killing these guys is essentially catching them out or ganking them. if you find one alone and you need to gank them, because certain ones one-on-one, like Stukov one-on-one, Tyrande one-on-one, you can't one-on-one them very well because they're very high damage. Stukov, by the way, does, like, he has some of the highest basic attack damage, probably second to Butcher in the game, in one basic attack. So, you can't go one-on-one easily with him. Same with Karazim as well, because he is very good with basic attacks, stuff like that. But next is Ana. Ana has only one form of crowd control, and that is her Sleep Dart. If you've played Overwatch, once again, you know what Sleep Dart does, which instead of a 6-second sleep, or 6-second stun in this case, is 3 seconds, and that gives her plenty of time to, hopefully, escape. Now, if you have high mobility and you get slept, after you wake up, you may potentially be able to catch up to her. Which, if in that case you can, well, then you can secure a kill, because one of Ana's main weaknesses is actually dive. So if you dive on her, especially after she's used her Sleep Dart, which is a 14-second cooldown, by the way, after she's used that, she's very vulnerable because she can't CC, she can't do none of that. So, she's very easy to dive as well. So, I shouldn't say that Malfurion's one of the easiest to dive. And next is one of the relatively hardest to fight, because, once again, like I said, Karazim, unless you are extremely burst heavy, you might not kill Karazim, but he's still going to get away one way or another. Because he has high mobility, not any CC, but mainly mobility. Sort of like Lucio, except Lucio has a little bit of CC, right? Now his movement comes from, well, oh yeah, I forgot. You get to pick your trait with this. But, Radiant Dash is his main movement skill, which allows you to jump to an enemy or ally unit and basic attack them. And Breath of Heaven heals and grants movement speed. Essentially, a lot of mobility purely from this, and also paired with the Insight trait, which allows you every 3rd basic attack. Essentially, all of his traits and a lot of other stuff relies on every 3 basic attacks something special happens. But, oh god, I'm sorry. But all of his traits, every 3rd basic attack, he gains movement speed. 25% movement speed increased. 25% increased movement speed, sorry, for 2 seconds every 3rd basic attack. So he can just come in, bah, 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 punch, get the hell out. But paired with Insight, all of these traits have the same movement speed effect. But Insight, you get restoration on mana every 3rd basic attack, and you grant a stack of Insight. This is also a quest. If you get 100 stacks of Insight, every 3rd basic attack reduces your basic ability cooldowns. Now, this is what, if you have Insight, this is why it's extremely hard to kill a Karazim, because they're going to be even more mobile due to the fact that every 3 attacks, they're going to have Radiant Dash charged even more, or yeah, charged even more, or Breath of Heaven charged even more. They're going to be mobile, they're going to get out. So, once again, it's mostly CC even. CC doesn't work that well because once they're CC'd, or once they're stunned or slowed, after that effect stops, then just turn around, bah bah bah, movement speed, or ability out. So, the main way to punish a Karazim and to take on a Karazim is get rid of his abilities. Once again, silencing, just like using the silencing effect to prevent him from using abilities. That way he can't dash, he cannot get movement speed from healing. Just lock him down with silencing. That's the best tip that I can have for facing Karazim. Now, Tassadar. Tassadar is actually pretty hard to counter because his mobility skill also makes him invisible. Completely invisible. So Tassadar is just extremely hard to counter, in my opinion, or not counter, because he is easy to counter, per se. But he's not easy to chase. His dimensional shift, albeit it has a long cooldown, if he gets away with that, he's pretty much gone. He has movement speed, and he's invisible, so you don't know where he's going. And you can't damage him as well while he's doing that. And his force wall, which he can put behind him, and when he does that, if you don't have a movement skill to get through that wall, then you're just stuck there, and you can't chase him. So, my main thing would be essentially anything that you can teleport, any hero you can teleport with, or that can cross terrain to cross his force wall. So characters like Hanzo, Genji, Illidan, even if you go the right talents. Trying to think here, really. But just anyone who can cross terrain, anyone who can teleport, stuff like this. So, that's one way of locking him down, because if you cross through his force wall, even if it is a very short cooldown, it's an 8-second cooldown on Tassadar's force wall. So, if you get past that, if he doesn't dimensional shift away, you should be able to lock him down pretty easy. So try and bait out dimensional shift, and if he doesn't, if you're not at heroic level and he doesn't have the option to force wall you, then it's even better, because he has a 30-second cooldown on his dimensional shift, and that's when you want to jump him. And once you do that, it's perfect. Now, Li Li is one of the main enemies of any basic attacking hero. Essentially, heroes that are basic attack reliant, so the Butcher, Illidan, once again, well, etc. Alarak, Zeratul, stuff like that. People that rely mainly on basic attacking. Because her basic ability, Blinding Wind, the blinding effect in Heroes of the Storm makes it to where you cannot basic attack an enemy, so that's why she's the main counter to heroes like that. And then she gets movement speed whenever you take damage. It's very slight movement speed, but and then her heroic options. Her heroic options, which I want to see, what's this do? Summons 2 dragons, perfect. But no, her heroic options give her even more CC and sustained healing, which Jug of 1,000 Cups, essentially, if she's trying to run away from you and she's popped Jug of 1,000 Cups, she's gonna be healing that entire time, because this lasts 6 seconds and it heals anyone in the area. It heals the lowest health target. So if she's the only one in the area, she's gonna be consistently healed while she's getting movement speed from Fast Feet if you're hitting her. And Water Dragon as well, if she summons that, she can get away quite well, because you get a 70% movement speed debuff after being hit by Water Dragon. So the best way to take down Li Li, I would say, is burst mages, people that don't rely a lot on basic attacks, and also ganking in case of Water Dragon, because if one person gets slowed down, or if at level 20 she goes with Double Dragon, and if 2 people do, if there's that third person to take him down, then she can't do much, because the movement speed bonus from Fast Feet is not that much. So yeah, that's a Li Li. And then we're getting into, what is this, last 2 sports? Yeah. This is the last 2 sports here. And these are going to be, of course, god damn it, tab into my game, thank you. The last 2 sports, which are my least played by far supports, purely because one's creepy as hell and one I just really don't know how to play very well. That is Brightwing and Redgar. Brightwing is a little bitch. that's as much as I can say as far as Brightwing. Brightwing's a bitch to deal with and also to play as because she's a creepy little shit. Which I've found that out a lot. I don't like it purely because of that. So, well, I don't like Brightwing, but to counter her, I don't even know if it's a her, honestly. It sounds like it is. I'll show a voice line off here. That's announcers.
Fight time!
Her voice lines in game are even creepier, but I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I don't really care because it's Brightwing. But she's a bitch to play against because her main basic ability, she can just, oh god, she hurts. She hurts a lot. And I'm not kidding as well, she just hurts a lot. Because she doesn't have to use mana to heal, she just heals every allied hero that's nearby. She has CC in the form of Polymorph, and she has movement speed if she doesn't use it on an ally from Pixie Dust. And also you get spell armor from that. So it's like, okay. So how do you counter this little shit? Also Emerald Wind. And just, there's so much... I hate Brightwing. I don't like the Brightwing. But Emerald Wind pushes, it knocks back all enemies. Very simple. But the best way I can say to counter her, bait out both of her abilities here. Hopefully, just hope to God that she does not have, where's mounts? Phase Shift, that's what it is. Phase Shift is her 55-second cooldown teleport. If she doesn't have that, just after she does that, bait out Polymorph, bait out Pixie Wind even, and if she has Emerald Wind, try to bait that out if entirely possible. Because that's the main way you're going to get her, because if you're one-on-one-ing her, she'll Polymorph you Pixie Dust and she gets away. And if she has her Phase Shift, she'll just Phase Shift to an ally that's in a safe position, and she gets away there. So, actually, a main way to counter her is, once again, sort of like Karzim, is... not stuns and slows, but silences. That's what you want to do to do that, because you can prevent that Polymorph, you can prevent knockback from Emerald Wind, and you can prevent her from getting her movement speed. Although I'm not sure whether it blocks the effects of Phase Shift if you silence. But now on to the last support. Rehgar. Oh, I'm disappointed that I'm not good at Rehgar, because A, he's a cool character, and B, one of my friends is a very good Rehgar, and I disappoint him. I disappoint him anytime I play Rehgar. But Rehgar, really, like with Rehgar, it's just, he doesn't have very good healing, because it's a sort of long cooldown on healing, because this cannot be reduced until level, was this 13? Yeah, 13. The cooldown can't be reduced until level 13, so not very sustained healing. Ancestral healing is not the best even, because you can't use it on yourself, so he has no self-sustain really. But, oh, the only things that he really has, so making him sort of easy to fight against, is his Ghost Wolf, which essentially, right, just for a little bit of lore, Rehgar is a shaman. So he's able to turn into a Ghost Wolf. He's able to transform into a Ghost Wolf, whatever you want. And it takes no time to do so, and it's the equivalent of mounting. Except with 20% increased move speed instead of 30. But he has that. And oh boy. It cannot be, it can't be cancelled by hitting him, like all other mounts in the game can be. So, that's that. And he also has a slowing ability, which is Earthbind Totem, which slows every nearby enemy by 35. And then there's... where is this talent? Because it's one of the most annoying things that I hate going against. Is... what was it, level 13? 16? This. This right here. If you face a Rehgar with this talent, it sort of hurts. Yeah, I say sort of because it doesn't hurt the most. Because it's not the best. He doesn't have the best form of CC. He does have some good slowing and some good movement. But other than that, it's the main simple stuff. You can one-on-one him. Rehgar, you can one-on-one easily if you have enough damage. But this talent is so annoying. Earthbind Totem, when it's first cast, 90% slow to everyone. So it's like, haha, I'm gonna get you, Rehgar. Nope, no you're not. No you're fucking not. You're not touching me. Not. It's very annoying to face when this talent is in play, because that slow can also be used as a hunting skill to entirely screw over an enemy team. Drop that in the middle of an enemy team, all of them are slowed, and that's massive crowd control. But yeah, it's as simple as really just diving and keep on him. And that's the same thing with every support, although some do require certain forms of crowd control to really disable them. For example, stuns. Stuns and slows work good on most supports, but certain supports require you really to just silence them. There's no supports... actually, no. Karzim is one that is affected greatly by blinding. He is the only support that I can think of that is greatly affected by blinding, other than Tyrande. Or Tyrande. Because Tyrande has a basic attack to heal. So yeah, this was probably 50 minutes of wasted time, but I felt like making this video because a lot of people bitch about, oh, it's so hard to kill certain supports, mainly Lili, because Lili is OP as hell. But yeah, I see a lot of people bitch about not being able to kill supports because they're too mobile or they have too much CC, all of this, so that's sort of why I made this video. And yeah, as a support man, it sucks to see people shit on supports purely because they can't kill them. Okay? It just really sucks to see that, but yeah. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that it did help in at least one way or another to countering all these support heroes that people complain about so much. And as a support main, and also recently, a Diablo hero main, if you can't tell from the fact that a lot of my... Just, let's look at my profile real quick. I don't give a damn that you can see my battle tag. If you want to add me, you can. But my most played universe is Diablo. I love every Diablo hero, except for... where are you? Nazeebo. Nazeebo is the biggest pain in the ass. But, yeah. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and once again, I hope it helped you in any way, because I don't want to hear people bitching about how hard it is to kill sports. Unless it's Lili, then that's justified. Because Lili, once again, is overpowered as shit. Yeah, anyways, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.